Welcome to this week's edition of the Wacky News for the week ending November the 9th, 2012. A passenger on a United Airlines flight from Denver to Washington, D.C. must have been really scared about the plane landing because he didn't follow the flight attendant's instructions before landing, but instead he began praying in an aisle. This prompted the airliner's crew to make the decision to report the incident as an emergency, which prompted military jets to escort the plane into the Dulles International Airport. I guess the man's prayers were answered. The plane landed safely. In Scranton, Pennsylvania, police tell us that 24-year-old Stephen Johnson was drunk when he walked into a strange home and fixed himself a late-night dinner by cooking a steak on the stove and helping himself to some clams, crab, and shrimp from the fridge, while the home's owners were sound asleep on the living room couch. When Johnson was leaving the house, the man woke up and called the police, who found Johnson nearby with some leftovers, a box of Klondike bars and bottles of rum and vodka. Now he faces charges of burglary, criminal trespass, and public drunkenness, and is being held on $10,000 bail. In Denver, after working the night shift for the Regional Transportation District, Del Porch was dropped off at his home, but he never made it inside. He collapsed and died near his front door. Hours later, a mail carrier delivering mail stepped around Porch and did nothing to help. Later, he told the family that he thought the body was a mannequin, a decoration left over from Halloween. Now, this week, the U.S. Postal Service is defending the mail carrier and said it's an unfortunate situation that probably would not have happened any other time of the year. Police in Henderson, Nevada, arrested 35-year-old Taya Tai for making 59 hang-up 911 calls within 2 days. Police had talked to Taya before about phantom emergency calls coming from his phone, but he always denied making the calls or blamed them on others using his phone. Now he says his phone was broken and dialed 911 by itself. Police believe that over the past year, Tai has made over 3,600 911 calls. Now he's in jail on 59 counts of unlawful use of an emergency phone number. Bail is $59,000. He could face 1 year in jail and a $2,000 fine for each charge. A 57-year-old man who had been traveling the country by bus decided to take a little nap in a field on the outskirts of Billings, Montana. While the farmer was harvesting the field, he felt his combine hit something. He heard screaming when he turned the combine off, and he called emergency personnel. They found the unnamed man's clothing had been sucked into the cutter, pulling the man into the blades. He suffered cuts requiring stitches and may need skin grafts, but under the circumstances, he was one lucky man. In San Angelo, Texas, 18-year-old Hunter Hobart and 3 other boys allegedly stole several cartons of eggs from a nearby Walmart and thought it was fun and games to throw them at pedestrians and other vehicles as Hobart sped through town. 4 of the pedestrians were Marines who were on a street corner collecting toys for the Toys for Tots campaign. Hobart almost hit one of the Marines as he sped by and almost collided head-on with another vehicle before hitting a traffic island a short while later. Police apprehended the boys and arrested and charged Hobart with reckless driving and criminal mischief. The other 3 boys were cited for criminal mischief. Since the incident, members of the community have contacted the San Angelo Police Department offering to pay for the Marines' dry cleaning. Hobart faces up to a $2,000 fine and 6 months in jail if convicted. In Delray Beach, Florida, a family was having some repair work done to their septic tank. Most of the waste had been pumped out of it, but the tank was still left open. Wouldn't you know it, that evening Shelley, a 96-pound pointer, fell into the 6-foot deep tank and had to be rescued by the Delray Beach Fire Rescue. The rescuers fashioned a makeshift harness and used a tripod and winch to lift her out. Shelley appeared to be unharmed, but the rescuers advised the family to take her to a veterinarian as a precaution. 36-year-old Emily Brewer, a doctorate student at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, saw a pregnant woman in distress at a bus stop, but she didn't expect to deliver the woman's child there at the bus stop with her 2-year-old son Dylan right by her side. The woman didn't speak English and Brewer doesn't speak Spanish, but they were able to communicate with each other as to what should be done. Before the medics arrived, Brewer helped the woman deliver her baby. The woman and her child were taken to the hospital, but Brewer never found out her name. You probably did it. I know I did. That's to lie to your parents about why you were late getting home. Well, a 16-year-old in Santa Clarita, California, went a little too far last Tuesday evening when she told her legal guardians that she was walking on a bike path in the Santa Clarita Valley when she was grabbed by two men, knocked unconscious, and raped. Deputies searched the area for the suspects, and administrators at a nearby school alerted teachers and parents. Then on Wednesday afternoon, the girl recanted her story and told detectives she made it up because she had arrived home late and did not want to get into trouble. It's unclear if charges will be brought against her. In the election this past week, the votes in Rehoboth, Massachusetts were not completely counted until Wednesday afternoon because one of their older voting machines couldn't scan the ballots. Town clerk Kathleen Conti said all the town's voting machines received preventative maintenance just a month ago. So what was the problem with this machine? A repair technician found a spider was the reason the machine couldn't scan the ballots. For the past 10 years, 88-year-old Jessie Bell of New Albany, Indiana, has been unable to walk, but no one really knew why. Recently, Bell had a stroke and lost the use of his right arm. A week after being in the Southern Indiana Rehab Hospital, his doctor was amazed that he regained, even though weakened, the use of his arm in such a short period of time. Because of Bell's rapid recovery from the stroke, the hospital transferred him to the acute rehab unit where they worked on getting him back on his feet. It was slow going at first, from trying to stand for a minute to being able to walk 700 feet when he was recently discharged from the hospital. He says he's looking forward to being able to help his wife with household chores and playing a round of golf with his daughter. A University of Missouri sophomore, 19-year-old Kevin Wada, has been sentenced to 2 years of unsupervised probation for misdemeanor stealing. What did he steal? Women's underwear from a resident hall laundry facility. 6 female victims said their undergarments had gone missing after they did their laundry in the resident hall. When university police approached Wada about the missing undergarments, he handed over 15 pairs of women's underwear, but 11 more pairs of underwear and stockings were found when police searched Wada's dorm room. "47-year-old Charles Shimanis III was confronted by police when he walked out of an Allentown, Pennsylvania supermarket with $350 worth of lobster. He had been repeatedly stealing meat and lobsters from the area supermarkets that he would in turn sell to support his drug habit. Back in September, Shimanis pleaded guilty to charges of retail theft and robbery of a motor vehicle. This past Wednesday, a Lehigh County judge recommended Shimanis serve time at a state prison able to help him deal with his drug and alcohol problems. The Stout Carpeting Store in Castle Shannon, Pennsylvania, had a visitor crash into the store, running around, crashing into displays, and damaging other items. One store employee said, "I was shaking. I hadn't felt like that ever in my life. For 20 minutes, all I heard was banging and glass shattering. It was horrifying." Police were called and were able to get the visitor, a deer, out of the store before anyone got hurt. It must have been roadside fried chicken. Police say a truck that was hauling nearly 40,000 pounds of frozen chicken from Mississippi to Wegmans Distribution Center in Chile, New York, caught fire. The truck driver wasn't injured, but part of the highway was closed early Friday while crews cleaned up. A Cleveland, Ohio woman who was caught on camera driving on a sidewalk to avoid a school bus that was unloading children was ordered by a Cleveland municipal judge to wear a sign from 7:45 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. 2 days next week that reads, "Only an idiot drives on the sidewalk to avoid a school bus." Her license was suspended and she must pay the $250 court cost. In Paso Robles, California, write-in mayoral candidate Jeff Rogat was arrested on Election Day for investigation of crimes that include felonies, for making criminal threats and banishing a firearm. Besides the felonies, the 45-year-old car auto business owner was booked for investigation of 4 misdemeanors for driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol and 4 violations of a court order involving domestic violence. Rogat is sitting in jail now with bail set at $1.1 million. Now, does that surprise you that a crook was running for office? A landlady sparked a huge police operation after staging a fake heist on her social club inspired by the hit television show CSI. Scores of special officers and a police helicopter were scrambled to the big club in Bolton Colliery, England, after a cleaning lady found Kim Collins bound and gagged inside. The 42-year-old was tied to a chair with tape over her mouth, cable ties around her wrists, and cuts to her arms and legs. She told the terrified cleaning lady that a masked man had woken her in the night and tied her up before he snorted a bag of cocaine, emptied the safe, and disappeared. But after detectives found holes in her story, she admitted to making the whole thing up to try to convince her boyfriend and business partner they should sell the club and move away. Thanks for watching, and I'll be looking for you right back here next week for more wacky news.